All of this makes you wonder, what are international organizations up to? Debt traps, expansionism, conflict. Their whole purpose was to prevent all of this, to build peace and cooperation. Perhaps it was an impossible dream to start with. As we speak, another organization is sinking into irrelevance. The WTO, the World Trade Organization. More than 100 trade ministers are meeting in Geneva. Among them is India's Piyush Goyal. It is the first major meeting in almost 4 years, also a shot at redemption. The WTO has become a sitting duck recently. China wages illegal trade wars all over the world. The WTO does nothing. Big Pharma refuses to share vaccine formulas. The WTO does nothing. So this meeting is a make or break moment for them. The WTO has to secure at least one major deal. And they have chosen this one, a global fisheries agreement. What does it do? This agreement seeks to end all fishery subsidies. The idea is to stop overfishing, to protect marine life. It sounds agreeable, doesn't it? But after days of haggling, there is no deal in Geneva. Because one country is opposing the deal, and that country is India. Here's how Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal defended India's position.
25,000 मछुआरों के परिवारों को सुरक्षित रखने के लिए इतनी चिंता करते हैं कि जो सब्सिडीज वो दे रहे हैं उसको तो चाहते हैं कि वो चालू रहे, और हमारे जैसा देश जहाँ लाखों की संख्या में मछुआरे हैं उनके ऊपर प्रतिबंध लाने की कोशिश की जा रही है.
Well, a lot has been said about this stance, that India is obstructing an agreement, that India is not playing fair. But the fact is, India is looking out for its own people, for its own fishermen. And I'll give you two reasons why. Number one, this whole proposal is supposed to stop overfishing, to reduce marine pollution. In that case, shouldn't the polluters take the lead, the big polluters, mainly North America and Europe? These regions polluted the seas for decades. The likes of India came in much later. So why must every country take equal responsibility for this problem? The West created it, so the West must play a bigger role in solving it. Reason number two, fishing in India is not like fishing in the West. It employs around 14.5 million Indians. And these are not your rich trawler-owning bosses. These are ordinary fishermen. They still go out in small boats. Sometimes they get arrested in Pakistan or Sri Lanka. Why? Because in their desperation, they go beyond India's waters. These are the people who get subsidies in India. And that's not all. India's subsidies are way less than some other places. Let me show you some data. China's fishery subsidies are around 7.3 billion. The European Union, 3.8 billion. The United States, 3.4 billion. And India, just $277 million. There is simply no comparison. So India pushed for a counter proposal in Geneva. It had two major points. A, developed countries must end subsidies for 25 years. And B, developing countries get a 25-year transition period. The current draft calls for 7 years. India is pushing for 25, but the WTO is refusing to budge. And look at the narrative being built. Here's what one diplomat said in Geneva. India is being obstructive across the piece, whether it be on e-commerce, fisheries or agriculture. Obstructive, they say. When Europe buys Russian gas to keep their lights on, diplomats don't say anything. That's energy security. When Joe Biden plans to visit Saudi Arabia, diplomats say nothing. The same Saudi Arabia he promised to make a pariah. That is America's national interest. But when India stands up for 14 million fishermen, diplomats find their voice. That is convenient. Think back to last year. India and South Africa were pushing to unlock vaccine formulas, to waive the patents. How many Western countries supported that? I could count them on one hand. Diplomats did not call that obstructive. They came up with ways to defend their position, which is why the WTO has become a sitting duck. It offers every member state, a veto power, which means multilateral agreements require unanimous consent. Well, good luck in this political atmosphere. The World Trade Organization was created 27 years back. Guess how many multilateral agreements it has sealed? One. One deal in 27 years. And the reason is quite simple. The developed world and the developing world have different priorities on fishing, on free trade, on agriculture. And those priorities never meet. I'm not saying we must dismantle the World Trade Organization or that countries should do whatever they want to. Global trade does need a referee. But at this rate, who will listen to that referee? Especially if they favor one playing side all the time. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.